So, holidays are interesting. They are full of joy and fun and nostalgia and connection. And they can also be a bit tough on our emotions and our experience can be compromised if we don't have good practices to support ourselves when we are in situations where we're gathered with others, whether it's Easter holiday or it's Passover or it's some kind of professional function. What I'm about to share are some opportunities for reflection and practice that can really be used anywhere. But it felt timely since it's the weekend of the Easter holiday. So, I like to think about these practices in three categories. The first is clarity, and the second is competence, and the third is connection. And so, in the space of clarity, this is really all about our relationship with ourself. And of course, that's where it all begins. And so, the first concept that I would like to offer is stillness, creating a little more space in ourselves can help us to create safety and steadiness in our nervous system and in our emotional state. And so when we say stillness, it's not like stopping everything, stopping life. It's really just about creating a little bit of space, creating a pause, and letting things just settle, letting things calm a bit. And the reflection opportunity can be just to check in with ourselves and ask where do we feel grounded in our body right now? Where do we not feel grounded? Where do we feel tension or urgency in our body? And the practice can be as we reflect in advance of interactions or being in spaces where we're in a gathering with others, we can decide to take just three nice slow breaths. You might like to put a hand on your heart, hand on your stomach, and you might keep your hands here to feel the connection with your physical body, just to help us kind of come out of our minds and into our bodies. And I like to say to myself, I am here on an in breath. And on my next, I am safe. And on my last, I am peace. And you might choose different words to share with yourself as you get still and grounded and create just a little bit more space. But that stillness can create some beautiful clarity. And when we're in that space of clarity, we're able to understand our emotional landscape in a more meaningful way. So I think about this concept in this frame. Awareness creates choice. So if, for example, I am aware that emotions that show up for me predictably during a holiday gathering, and many of our emotions show up predictably, if I can identify that I am going to feel likely a little bit anxious about what kind of conversations I might have with a certain individual. When I identify that, I become aware of that emotional landscape, I can reflect and feel more ready to accept that experience without needing to fix it or change it, just to identify it and accept it, we have a greater sense of choice. Do I want to feel this emotion of anxiety? Do I need to feel this emotion of anxiety? Where is this coming from? So, when we understand our emotional landscape, that awareness creates some better inner dialogue, better choices. And so, those two elements are helpful relative to bringing clarity as we head into gatherings with others. As we move into the next concept, here we're starting to really talk about competence. And one of the most powerful elements of competence as it relates to this kind of environment is the power of creating gentle boundaries. And I say gentle boundaries because boundaries get a bad rap sometimes. Boundaries are not walls. They're not these limitations. They're not this like, this is my boundary. I mean, it can be that. But often boundaries are really bridges. When we communicate what our needs are and we do so with clarity in a kind and gentle way, we can really increase trust with another person. Um, and so we might ask ourselves in reflection, where do I tend to overextend myself in relationships? Where am I in need of a gentle boundary? An example that you might try is if someone is engaging in conversation or a topic that you don't really want or aren't ready to engage in, you might try something like you could say, oh, loved one, I want to be fully present, but I'm not ready quite yet. I need a little bit of space for myself on this one before we talk about it. It's just a gentle boundary. And you might notice how it feels to honor that capacity. It feels really wonderful. It takes some practice if you're not accustomed to doing that, but it feels pretty wonderful. Another practice of competence that I would offer is around storytelling, rewriting our narratives. A lot of our stories are old. They're old and they shape, strain today, even though they're old. They might be outdated. We can rewrite them. We have the competence to rewrite them in our hearts and in our minds. So the reflection might be, what story do you tell yourself that may no longer be true? Oh, this person thinks I'm stupid because I made this decision. Well, when was that? Was it 10 years ago? Was it 5 years ago? Was it 20 years ago? Does that person still even think about it? Are you the only one thinking about it? Maybe. Maybe you are. So, what story do you tell yourself that may no longer be true? Everybody thinks I'm an irresponsible parent, can be a story. I, for one, got really, really drunk at a family function. It's really fun, but I embarrassed myself. I acted like a fool and I felt really uncomfortable about it for many years. But I was telling a story about a time that nobody was thinking about anymore. Only really I was. And I'm not an irresponsible parent. I'm a wonderfully responsible parent. And so my practice, and potentially yours, was to rewrite a new version of that story. So that is another potential aspect of competence. In connection, I would offer that ease in relationships is more accessible than we sometimes think. Our presence, our full, fresh, available presence is much more powerful than perfection in dialogue. And we often will run a potential scenario in our heads, and well, if this person says this, then I'm going to say that, and if this is the way that goes, then I'm going to bring this up, or we kind of go through these what ifs, and we kind of practice run some of this stuff. But the reality is that relationships really soften when we bring warmth and full fresh presence, the understanding that we don't have to fix anything or fix anyone in the moment. It's really just about being present. So you might think about, with whom might you like to connect? With whom might you like to feel more connected if there's an opportunity? And so, if that opportunity can be created or presents itself, the practice is just being fully present, eye contact, listening deeply, actively, without interrupting. A genuine expression of appreciation or smile. These things can really ease relationships, and being present is much more powerful than being perfect or well rehearsed. So that's one aspect of connection that I would share. I think that's a lot of different opportunities that we have touched on here. And of course, I don't want the video to be too long because I know our attention spans are not quite as long as they once were. So I am wishing you a wonderful holiday if you're celebrating with loved ones, friends, family, and hopefully something in the neighborhoods of clarity or competence or connection can really benefit you. And keep in mind, these practices can be used for any kind of gathering or environment where you're in the presence of others. So I am wishing you all good things, and I will encourage you to practice what matters. See you next time.